Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Michael Gorman, Senior Associate Editor with Engadget, and I am very happy to introduce the co-founder of Nest, Matt Rogers, who's going to be joining me on stage for a quick chat. If you have any questions, we're going to be doing a Q&A session at the end, so just send out a tweet with hashtag Nest and hashtag EngadgetSF, and we'll get to it at the end. So thanks for joining me, Matt.
No problem. Great to be here.
So I feel like most people here probably are very familiar with Nest, but just as a quick intro here, can you talk a little bit about Nest and I think first and foremost why you decided to build it?
Sure. So Nest started about 3 years ago. Myself and Tony Fadell, both from Apple, looking at how we could revolutionize the thermostat. So a really boring kind of issue, right? Thermostats, heating and cooling, who cares, right? Well, it turns out it was half of home energy and really no innovation for 20, 30 years. So we put together a crack team of hardware, software, services, algorithm guys to tackle the problem and introduced our first product about 1.5 years ago.
So really it sounds like the impetus was surrounding just energy savings. Like that's kind of how you chose it?
So there's definitely a huge energy angle. We could help save people about 20% off their energy bill with Nest. But also there's a huge design angle. Today thermostats are these ugly white plastic boxes that are really hard to use and have these crazy buttons, interfaces, and ours is a very sleek, easy to use dial with big numbers and a beautiful screen and a stainless steel ring that you just turn up and down, and it's really nice on your wall.
So you mentioned that you came from Apple, and I think it seems very clear that a lot of that influenced the design that went into Nest, and that's been a focus for what Nest does. Can you talk a little bit about how that? Did you already have this idea in your head when you thought about doing a thermostat?
So part of our philosophy is everything we do must be beautiful. Anything worth doing should be done well. Like if we're going to go build a product, build these apps, build our service, let's make it great. And we put a lot of time into design, a lot of energy. We have a great design team, and we've put a lot of extra energy in terms of making the product that much better. Like instead of using plastic, let's use stainless steel. Those kinds of decisions.
So, Nest has been around for 16 months now?
About 16 months since we first launched. Yeah.
So a little over a year, and the team has grown, right?
Yeah, we're almost 200 people now.
Okay.
We're busting at the seams at our building. Lots of things to build. Expanding markets, new retail channels. We're doing really well.
Okay. So let's talk about this expanding markets, additional products. Can you talk anything? Are we talking about refining Nest itself? Will we be seeing other things?
So since we've launched, we've done 17 software updates and kind of 2 major hardware revisions. And part of what we see is we need to continually innovate in our area. We can't leave the thermostat alone. We got to do great stuff there. We've done new energy reports. That's a thing we send out to all our users every month. It's an email describing how much energy you use, how could you save more, share it with your friends, those kinds of things. But yes, there's a continuous pace of innovation. There's lots of stuff we want to do.
And I know that community is certainly a big part of what Nest does. So when you're putting out all these new software updates and constantly revising how it works, is that coming from your users? Is it coming from internal people and ideas that are just getting brought to fruition, or how has that been working?
It's both.
Okay.
So we definitely listen to our users, and actually we opened up a community within Nest so our users can give us feedback, and that's been incredibly vibrant. We've had thousands of people come and give us feedback and product suggestions and tips and those kinds of things. But also we have a ton of ideas internally, things that we want to go do, things that frustrate us that we want to go fix.
So, with these users, a passionate user base, do you have any idea kind of why Nest has resonated? It's not often you can get people excited about something as relatively mundane as a thermostat, but there is legitimately people were very interested and have been excited about Nest kind of since its inception. So how has that been from your end?
So I think part of it is latent frustration. It's a frustration with boring, mundane, unimaginative technology in the home. People have had thermostats for 100 years, and they're pretty much the same as they've always been. They've gone from mercury to electromechanical. That's the only changes they've had, really. I think people have been frustrated, and they see there's a promise of a better home, of a smarter home, and a lot of companies have tried, and most have failed. They've done kind of very niche, kind of very geeky technology, and nothing that's kind of consumer-facing, nothing that's mass appeal, nothing that's actually affordable. A lot of home automation systems are thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to set up, and I think the promise of Nest is maybe there's a better way.
Okay, so let's dig into that a little bit deeper. we're talking about automated homes. Obviously, the thermostat is certainly part of that. But I think people kind of look at the broader home automation category.
Yes.
And I know myself and several of my colleagues would like to see Nest do more, bring your design philosophy and those kinds of things that you can do, perhaps spread out. So is that going to happen? Does Nest, what are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely something that we'll do over time. And this is one of those kind of transitions, going from a one product to a multi-product company, that happens over time. If you look at Apple, the iPod was introduced in 2001. The iPhone didn't come out until 2006. I mean, in terms of the transition, that was a very long transition. From iPhone to iPad is a 2-year transition. These things take time. You want to make sure that the consumers are ready for it, that they understand how to interact with these new devices. And having the iPhone as kind of the control center for your home, I think, is a new thing. And as people become more aware and more used to it, I think that's going to become much more popular. But it's definitely something we're watching very closely, and we'll see what we're doing over time.
So let's look at kind of the landscape of where home automation is right now. I mean, there's lots of companies doing it. They're trying to bring this, there's lots of light bulbs and lighting solutions and different kinds of things. But it's not widespread, even though it seems like, everybody's got a smartphone. There's a lot of computing power around that. It seems like this should be something that could be accomplished, but it hasn't yet. So why do you think it hasn't?
So honestly, home automation's a nightmare today. It's incredibly fragmented. There's probably 13 different types of technology and how to tie things together. There's Zigbees and Z-Waves, there's Wi-Fi's, there's HomePlug, there's any different number of flavors of these things, and none of them work together. And I think part of it is there's been no real leadership here. And maybe that's an opportunity for Nest and Nest-like companies. Can we get together and do something great here and actually unify a lot of these spaces?
So you're saying it's not like the plans in the future for Nest are not going to be solely, everything is a Nest product. You will be working with other people to try to build kind of an ecosystem that's elegant and beautiful and works well. I
mean, so no one company can build it all. I mean, and every company needs partners. If you look at Apple in the early days of iPod, they relied very heavily on partners for accessories, for speakers, for kind of everything that goes around that product. And if you look at the iPhone, the kind of iPhone ecosystem around it is almost all based on partners.
Right.
No company can do it all. And I mean, we have great ambitions. There's a lot of things that we want to go do, but we know we won't do everything.
Okay, so let's kind of bring it back to the focus just on what Nest is doing now. I mean, what are we going to be seeing from Nest in the immediate future? Like, what is it that you want to be able to accomplish with Nest in the short term, just with the thermostat in that context?
So there's definitely a lot more we want to do around the energy saving angle. Like, how can we give consumers more tools to save? How can we give them more insights into how they're doing? So today, for example, in our energy report, we say, how many hours of energy you've used, how much you've saved, and what you can do to do better. I'd like to get a lot deeper there and give people, better insights and, I say, better tools to save more. There's a lot we could do there. There's a lot we can do on the partnership side there. And obviously, there's growth. So yes, it's been a great 16 months, but there's a long road, and we're playing a very long game here. We're looking to build a great legacy kind of company, and we have enormous awareness programs we need to go put together. There's international we have to start looking at. This is it's an important year for Nest.
Right. So when you're talking about partnerships, I mean, are we talking about partnerships with like utility companies and other software platforms or anything like that? Or what do you mean when you're talking about partnerships?
I'll give you a great example. So last summer we did a program in Texas with this company Reliant. So Reliant is the first or second largest energy provider in Texas. And we worked with them to basically put together a new way of selling energy in Texas, where you sign up with Reliant. And Texas is a deregulated state. It's very interesting, where you actually could pick your provider. It's kind of like a cell phone plan. You could pick, you want a Reliant plan or a different plan.
Right.
And working together with Reliant, we put together a program where you sign up with Reliant, you get a free Nest and kind of fixed rates moving forward, and they built a whole program around this. And they integrate marketing campaigns. It was really nice. They put billboards up featuring Nest. It was a great awareness campaign for us too. There's definitely a lot more we could do there too. I mean, there's the utility space today is very promising. There's a lot of opportunities for companies like us to grow fast. It's finding the right partners, finding the right opportunities.
So, you're looking for these partners and opportunities. I mean, is this something that like eventually the plan is for there to be, you have associations with, electrical providers everywhere across the country, and then expanding even perhaps outside of the United States?
I mean, ideally, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there are enormous programs put together. Actually, utilities are required to do it. They have to put together these programs to incentivize people to save. Like, you think like it's in the utilities' best interest for you to use more energy, to spend more, and in fact, it's the opposite. A lot of them are incentivized to help you save. And if working together with Nest, if we could provide that to millions or tens of millions of people, that's awesome for everybody.
Yeah.
That's great for the utility, for the consumer, and for us.
So what are the biggest challenges? What are the biggest roadblocks that are preventing these kind of things from happening and from it being, everywhere? I'm sure people outside of Texas would love to have that kind of, option.
I think part of it is finding the right progressive partners. So, utilities are on a much longer sales cycle. They take a lot longer for these kind of decisions, and they're very tightly regulated. But finding the right progressive partners that can move fast with us, we're all for it.
Yep. So, can you talk about any new features that we'll be seeing from Nest in the immediate future? Maybe another hardware revision. I know you've made 2 versions of it. I assume, will there be more hardware? Is it going to be software?
So I'll be perfectly honest with you. We see the thermostat as not something that you buy a new one every year.
Right.
It's not like a phone where we expect you to upgrade every year. And in fact, we'll provide great value through software. And we've done 17 software updates since we started. And we don't expect our users to buy a new one every year. And that's not right. This is a product you put on your wall that should stay for 5 to 10 years. So maybe there's other things we could do instead. Maybe there's great software products, great mobile products, or maybe other great hardware products.
Okay. So with that, the longevity process, how long people are expected to have these in their home. I mean, was that one of the considerations that you had when you were designing it? Like, was that part of what informed the design, or like how did you come up with the design that you had for Nest?
100% absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually designed the product so you put it in your home and it should last a long time. And actually, the industrial design was built off that as well. So people repaint, they change the decor around their home, and we designed the product to basically be a chameleon, to absorb the light from around it and to basically be one with the home. So that's why we did it out of stainless steel, out of metal, so that it actually reflects the wall and kind of blends in. We didn't do it like a white plastic box or a shiny black object like many mobile products are today, because this is your home. You want it to blend in. So
was this, were there multiple designs? Like, how long did it take you to kind of arrive at the final Nest product?
Oh man, that was a long process.
Yeah.
So when we first got started, we knew at the core we wanted to do it a round product with a really big number. It was easy to read. But going from there to where we ended up was a very iterative process. It was no one stroke of genius. It was actually a lot of really hard work. We did hundreds and hundreds of prototypes, lots of different models, and we just built a lot of models and lots of prototypes, and picked things that we liked and narrowed down from there. And
were the software interface as big a challenge as the hardware as well? I mean, I assume keeping things simple so that people can understand and use it, whether it's your grandmother or, maybe more tech-savvy people. Like, was that the bigger challenge, or was coming at the hardware?
So actually, they were both pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, doing something simply is challenging. And on the actual thermostat product itself, the UI is incredibly simple. It's just a number that you turn up and turn down, and everything else is kind of behind the scenes. And keeping that discipline was challenging for all of us. I mean, we wanted to throw in, hey, let's put a clock in there. You pass by, you want to see what time it is, or what the weather is today. And those are the kind of things we have to fight back every day. Like, no, guys, remember, it's a thermostat. Let's keep at the basics, and put a lot of these things in the mobile apps. So we spend a lot of time on our mobile apps. They're very rich. You can look at your energy history, how much you've spent over the last 10 days, your schedule, look at the weather, all those kinds of things, and that's the right interface for those kinds of things. So for some of the deeper dives, we put them in the mobile apps, but we kept the thermostat very simple.
I gotcha. So what has been kind of the most exciting part about Nest? Like, you've built this basically from nothing in a market that people didn't even kind of know that they thought could be awesome, and it's become kind of, I don't want to say phenomenon, that might be a little bit much, but I mean, it's clearly a product people are excited about in a space that you don't normally expect that. So how's that been for you, making it happen?
So it's been phenomenal, and actually it's been beyond what I expected. I mean, part of the kind of the reward for me has been the hearing tweets or getting emails from our customers saying, hey, I saved $100 this month, thanks guys.
Right.
Like we're actually making an impact, and one of the reasons why we started the company is to make that impact, and for it to be real is phenomenal. In our last energy report, we had a stat that I think we're saving, like, since we've launched, about 600 million kilowatt hours. Enough to fly a 747 to the moon and back 6 times, albeit you can't get a 747 to the moon and back at all. It's kind of a calculation, right? But we're powering cities for a month in terms of equivalence. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we're just getting started. Like, that's the reward in it for us. I mean, we're loving this.
So all that energy saved, I mean, how many users do you have right now? Do you know how many people?
So in terms of reaching critical mass, we're definitely well on our way. We're a top seller in Amazon. Like, we are the top seller in thermostats on Amazon. We're a top seller in Apple for accessories. We're a top seller at Lowe's for thermostats. We're well on our way. We're doing incredibly well, but there's a lot more to go.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we have time for a few questions here. So let me see what we've got from Twitter. Okay. Okay, first question is from Elon Dax on Twitter. He wants to know, how does Nest push software updates to their thermostats?
So all of our devices are connected via Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So when you first install the product, you actually optionally connect it to Wi-Fi, so you can remote control it, get energy statistics, and for us to do software updates. So once you're on Wi-Fi, we pick a good time, usually in the middle of the night when people are asleep. And over 12-hour periods, we start sending out software updates to your thermostat. It basically downloads the link from a server, unpacks it, and does the update in place. It's a lot like updating your phone or updating a computer, but we do it kind of behind the scenes.
Gotcha. Okay, and Franklin Wang would like to know, will there be any accessories for Nest coming out? So like thermosensors that can place to balance cooling and heating requirements.
It's been a very popular request, and definitely something that we're looking at. And like the farther along we get, actually, the more of these things we hear from our users, and actually the more homes we reach, the more things that we learn. So there's a lot of opportunities for these kinds of things.
So it's in the works, but you can't tell us.
Of course,
that's going to happen, right? Okay. Guy Bieber would like to hear more about the learning algorithm. Does it look at time, inside temperature, outside temperature, who is in the house, etc.?
So it actually takes all of these things into account. So for example, for some systems, actually the outside weather matters a lot.
Okay.
In particular, if you have a heat pump, outside weather is incredibly important, especially at night. So we use weather, we use indoor occupancy, we use temperature, we use humidity. Your preferences, like whether you like things hotter or colder, or what time you arrive and what time you leave, those kinds of things all are taken into account. And actually, one of the reasons why the product works so well is we have all these different sensor inputs and all these user inputs.
Right. Okay. And Nick Cicero would like to know, has it been difficult to gain traction in a market dominated by older dealer models like ADT and the like?
So part of what we've done differently is we've disrupted the model of how we get to the consumer. So previously, all these products have been sold and installed through installers. And we work with a lot of installers. We have thousands in our certified network of people we work with. But actually, most of our products are sold through retail and online. So we're kind of disrupting that model where people could go to a store like a Best Buy or an Apple store and actually see the product and hold it in their hands. It's now a consumer decision as opposed to something that a contractor did beforehand.
Okay. So with so many security companies that are kind of moving into home automation, how do you not get lost in package deals?
So I think it's pretty easy in this case. I mean, we continue to build great products. We build well-designed products, and if we ever do a kind of bundle deal with these guys, it'll be very clear that you're buying Nest.
Right.
And like if you're buying products through Comcast or ADT or Verizon, it's going to look very different than something that we do. I mean, like fundamentally, like they're not great design and technology companies, right? They're carriers.
Yeah. So you guys will be doing it that way. War to Death would like to know, are there any future plans to integrate hardwood and granite floor heater into a future Nest product?
Interesting. So we actually work with Radiant Floor Systems today. One of the major features we did back last October was a feature we call True Radiant. So this is something that was brand new, and that we take account how fast your home heats or cools. And with radiant systems, like granite floors, it takes a long time to heat that foundation. So we actually built custom algorithms exactly for these kind of scenarios. So actually, we support them already.
So there you go. So it's already happened. And I guess the last question here is, I mean, you have limited support with general heating systems. I mean, is that something that is always going to be, you're going to be able to work? I mean, is the idea basically to where Nest can work with anything that's heating or cooling a home?
So today we're compatible with about 95% of systems in the US. And we're always looking to expand with more. There's a very, very long tail out there, and what we've learned is that it's kind of the Wild West.
Yeah.
And every install kind of at this tail has been different, lots of customization, but it's something that we're always working on.
Okay. Well, I guess that's all we have time for, so thank you very much, Matt, for joining us. Thank you all. And stay tuned. Our next panel will be starting at 11:30, and it's about redesigning mobile. We'll have Scott Croyle, the Vice President of Design at HTC, Dennis Milasecki, Head of Design Studio for Samsung, Ryan Sullivan, Director of Product Development at Sprint, and that will be hosted by Miriam Jouar. So stick around, guys, and stay tuned. Thanks.